Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today. And though you've come through many obstacles.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to Kipo and the Age of Wonderbeasts, Season 2, Episode 4. So, last time we had the brunch spot. I don't remember exactly what it was called, but Kipo almost lost control. And we're realizing we have to get her to her anchor sooner rather than later. It's just kind of being assumed right now that getting her to the original burrow that her family was a part of before the Clover Burrow will help. We don't actually know that it will. It's just kind of the only lead they've got right now. But I assume by the fact that we are going there and that it's spending multiple episodes getting us there, I assume that that is going to be the thing. Excuse me. And I'm kind of wondering if the burrow's even there. I've been thinking, like, why would Leo and Kipo need to escape the burrow? Why would they not be able to go back? Because I had just rewatched the episode again with the goats where this was all revealed, with a reaction or two. And in it, in the flashbacks and all, Leo says that they can't go back to their burrow. And he seems very down about it. And there's a lot of theories going in my head that it could be it could be centering around maybe they were kicked out because of what he and his wife had done to Kipo. Maybe it was destroyed. Maybe there's something else happening with it, or there's a lot of different possibilities. So it's like, we don't know what the answer is, but it could be that it was destroyed. And if that's the case, there's literally nothing for Kipo to go back to. What's that going to mean? I just feel like there's a lot of questions still. And I'm still not a fan of the fact that they're still keeping Kipo and Leo separated and just kind of repeating season 1 in that regard. It just feels like too much of the same thing, and just I'm not a fan of it. I'm still not a fan of it. But the episodes have still been good. I'm still interested to see what we got. So we're just going to get into this episode, see what happens, and take it from there. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So I think by this point it's pretty clear that Season 2 is just kind of a repeat of Season 1, and that's really fucking disappointing. Because it's like, yeah, the stakes are higher, yeah, there's a little more mystery with this other group, and everything, but it's pretty clear by this point that it's pretty much the same thing. You have Kipo and her father separated. There's a main goal at hand to getting them reunited, and every episode is kind of like leading towards that goal, while at the same time its own just episodic kind of adventure. And the problem with this is that, again, it feels the same as season 1. Nothing about it, like, again, outside of the specifics, outside of the stakes being a little higher, it doesn't feel fresh. And with the second season of a show, you want it to feel fresh. You want it to feel new. You want it to feel like it's something different. Um, Infinity Train season two had this problem, but instead of just feeling like a repeat of season one, it was just kind of boring comparatively. It was not as interesting as season one by any means, and although there were some good things about it, it couldn't live up to the excitement and the quality that the first season gave. Um, and this is not as bad as season two of Adventure or of Infinity Train. And by the way, I as always want to make clear I did still like season two of Infinity Train, but just comparatively, it was nowhere near as good. But season two of Kipo so far is still better than that. It's still on a pretty good level with the episode quality and just character moments and whatnot. It's not boring. It's not uninteresting in what's happening. It's still exciting and fun. It's just it is very much repetitive. And keeping Kipo and Leo separated again is just a huge mistake in my eyes. It just it feels wrong to do that again. And in the end, the goal is the same. Like saving or finding Kipo's father. Kipo reuniting with her father. That is the end goal of this. The only difference here is that Kipo also wants to save humanity from Scarlemagne on top of it. But the issue is that Kipo, even in season one, wanted to protect and save others too. It's not really different enough. Again, the stakes are higher. That's really the only thing that keeps it separate from season one, other than the specifics of what's happening. But let's talk about this actual episode. Because, again, I did very much enjoy this. I did like this episode, and I am enjoying this season. I want to make that clear. Just because I'm complaining about this season being a repeat of season one doesn't mean I don't like it still. So this episode gives us backstory into how Wolf got the Deathstalker tail. We also learn more about Deathstalkers as a creature and get to see Wolf and Kipo have to deal with them while Dave, Mundu, and Benson are off doing their own thing. Which I don't know if we'll end up seeing what they went through. Maybe we won't. Maybe we will. But in the end, I don't think it's too important. What is important here is the continued character growth of Wolf. We're seeing her break out of her shell more and more, even to the point of singing along with her friends at the end here, after having that song stuck in her head. Because catchy songs will do that to you. But yeah, we see Wolf very much breaking out of her shell in a lot of ways. Some people might say like she kind of regressed in this episode a little bit, but I disagree, like actually very strongly. Just because she kind of became very survivalist again and very like and kind of retreated into her shell doesn't mean she regressed. Think about where they were. This was a place that Wolf used to live in. This was the place where Wolf got her Deathstalker tail and faced one of the biggest challenges she's ever faced. She's going to kind of go back into her old ways a little bit. That's natural. It's not a regression of character. It's her kind of just going into how she was when she was here last. She had to be a survivor for so long because of, well, everything that happened to her. With the wolves, with just being alone, she had to be a survivor. And so coming back here kind of brought that back to her. And especially when with her now having someone that she wants to protect, someone that she cares so greatly about that she actively fears for her. And it's as we saw, that's what actually ended up getting her caught. Because Kipo was calm, Kipo was fine. The Deathstalker wasn't going after her, it was going after Wolf. But Wolf was so afraid that Kipo was in danger that she let herself become vulnerable. And it cost her. But it's because of that fear, because she's so afraid of losing Kipo, that she's also on edge and that she wants things to be as safe as possible. So she's kind of, yeah, she has kind of gone back to her old ways a little bit. But again, it's not a regression of character because it's dependent on where they are. It's basically a reactionary measure, a way for her to feel safe given the circumstances and location of where they're at. That's all it is. And we see that she goes back to how she has been lately after everything's okay and after everyone's reunited and all. So, yeah. I think that this was actually a great episode for Wolf. We also got to see some fun stuff with Kipo and a karaoke machine. These little stick, I don't remember what those sticks are called, but those are a real thing. We get to see the jump rope, and we see how, because of her survivalist nature, how Wolf had used all of these things back in the day. Using the karaoke machine to make owl noises to scare the Deathstalkers, because for some reason they're scared of owls, I guess. Using the jump rope as ties to tie together arms or whatever else of an enemy. Using the sticks, which are normally used for dancing and performance and whatnot, as weapons. And it's like, in this kind of post-apocalyptic world where it's like there's these giant, monstrous, dangerous creatures, it's like, yeah, using these kind of things for, well, reasons that they're not made for in order to survive is valid. And I think a lot of people would do that in real life if there were a post-apocalyptic situation like this. People would be using all kinds of tools in order to protect themselves. Hell, you see that kind of thing in zombie apocalypse stories. People using things that aren't actually like weapons as weapons. You see that all the time. And I think that's completely valid. So seeing it here and seeing how Wolf used them specifically in these kind of creative, clever ways is cool. It's fun. But the core of this episode had nothing to do with the main story. Like, the only thing that connected this to the main story is like, oh, we're trying to find the original burrow. That's it. That is literally it. It connected to Wolf's character, but honestly, I don't think this was really needed. It's not like I appreciate it. I'm definitely okay with having found out about how Wolf got the Deathstalker tail, but it wasn't really needed. And if they were going to do this, honestly, I feel like it would have made more sense to do this in season 1 when we're still learning about the character. At this point, it just feels like a weird choice to put in here, especially with the stakes being so high currently and time being a factor. Having them just kind of do this random episode just for character growth feels out of place. It feels like it's stalling specifically to avoid, reuniting Kipo and Leo too early, which is not a good thing in this case, as I've plainly stated plenty by this point. So it's like, it's just disappointing. The episode was really good, but the fact that we have this episode here at this point is disappointing. And I feel like I don't know if their intent, but I don't know if the writers and creators' intent was to repeat season one here, but that's what it comes across as. And I want to, I think, I don't know if I pointed this out before or anything, but I want to point it out here. But a good example of how to do a series that has only a couple seasons or whatnot, like I know Kipo has three, um, but a good way to do a short series like that and to make it feel natural, look at Gravity Falls. In season two of Gravity Falls, yeah, they still had some slice of life episodes, but a lot of it was still heavily focused on the story. In fact, season two of Gravity Falls was excessively focused compared to season one. Again, yes, there were still some slice of life stuff that really didn't matter all that much, but most of the episodes mattered. Most of them had intent and it didn't hold back. It got to big, important stuff pretty notably easily and early. And it kept giving us that throughout. It had a couple different big moments within season two. And again, it still had the slice of life stuff, but it handled it better than it is here. And it definitely didn't just feel like it was repeating season one. It felt like it was a much bigger deal, and it felt like it was, well, a natural progression from season one. This one doesn't. Kipo doesn't, and that's disappointing to me. I feel like it would have been better if Kipo had saved Leo and Leo was working with them to find this burrow. Um, or if Leo had stayed behind with the Timber Cats, I would have been fine with that actually, because he would be safe, and the goal of the season wouldn't be just to find him again. It in fact, I think that would be the best option because I don't think he could do much fighting on his own. I don't think he's really much of a warrior. He's more of a scientist, as we know. So I think that would actually be the best option if he had stayed with the others at Timbercat's place, and um, everything else just was still happening otherwise. Because everything else that had happened, like with them getting to the burrow and everything, is fine. It's just especially the issue of Leo that is bothering me here. Because if they fix that, if they again, if Leo had gone to the Timbercats after being saved by Kipo and everything, that would have literally fixed my entire problem with this season so far. And again, with the season as a whole, because again, the episodes have still been great. If they had done that, it would have fixed literally everything, every real issue I had here, and I would be completely fine with what they're doing right now. Because again, everything else could have been the same. Them talking to the Chevra Sisterhood, the entire thing about Kipo learning to control her powers and trying to find an anchor by finding this original burrow. All of this could have still happened. 100%. It is literally just Leo being basically like a damsel in distress again. Well, although in the first season it wasn't really a damsel in distress per se, but it's just the idea of Leo and Kipo being separated, and Kipo has to get to Leo. That was the main plot of season one, and now it's the main plot of season two. And that might change. That might change sooner than later. I don't know. But with as few episodes as this season is, I don't think it's going to. I don't even think we're going to get to the burrow until at least like episode 6. But more likely episode 7 out of 8, keep in mind. So I just really feel like they're I don't like the pacing of this. Um, but again, if they had fixed the thing with Leo, it would have it would have covered basically everything, because that's the main issue that's underlying throughout this entire thing. Leo is most likely not going to be rescued until the finale of this season, the very end of this season, and I'm just not okay with that. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. The episodes are still good, so I'm still enjoying this season. It's just that is a major issue for me. But tell me in the comments below, what do you think of this episode of Kipo and the Age of Wonderbeasts? And for now, I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See you all next time.